to know, to answer about this kind of questions, we have these two gentlemen here that they are creating the new internet. They are both co-founders of very important companies, Blip TV, Dina Kaplan, and Naveen Salvadurai, Foursquare. Joking, we said before that Naveen is apps and Dina is the web. But let's see what happens when they talk about their story, what they're doing, what they see ahead, and then they'll take questions, of course. Dopo di loro ci saranno i nostri Luca che dicono la loro parte. Naturalmente tutta la vicenda poi ha un clou fondamentale che è quando ci mettiamo a parlare insieme e voi fate le domande, cerchiamo di dipanare questa questione. I don't know if we were talking before about the web is dead as the problem that we are dealing with, just to have a trigger for starting. But of course, the best is that you tell us what you do, what you see, what you are building for the web, for apps, for us. Dina, you want to talk?
Sure, it's my pleasure to start. And I have to say, cominciare, che io sono andata al liceo qui a Roma per 4 mesi e poi 2 mesi, grazie. Non ho parlato italiano since avevo 15 anni, allora mi dispiace se non è perfetto, però mi piace provare a parlare un poco di italiano. Perché dopo. Allora, Roma, my favorite city in the world, so it's been wonderful to be here, so thank you so much. And Naveen and I have traveled over this entire city yesterday, and today we went to, I think, 30 different places, so if we look weary, mi dispiace. So with Blip, we started the company back in 2005. And what we are the platform for web shows. So for people who are creating what are in essence independent television shows for the web. Right now we host over 5,000 shows. We reach 100 million video views a month, 28 million people a month. And we have actually, just in the past 6 months, taken our top shows, not every show, but our top shows full-time. So if you look at the history of media, and especially the history of video, it's never before been possible for someone to have an idea for a show and to just do that show on their own without having a network boss or a studio chief, and to make enough money to survive and to thrive doing what they love. So we're really proud of our position in the ecosystem. In essence, we see video on the web emerging into a pyramid of content with pure professional content at the top, what we would consider user-generated content or amateur content at the bottom, and Blip owns the middle. People who are creating original, independent shows, and it's everything from scripted sitcoms and dramas to shows about anything and everything you could imagine, from surfing to swimming to tours of Rome to whatever else you might find yourself passionate about. To answer your question specifically, I wouldn't say that the internet or the web is dead. I would not say that apps are the only future, but I would say that the companies that will survive and thrive today will simply solve fundamental problems for people. And I would go so far as to say that Blip.tv is not an internet company. Foursquare is not an internet company or an app. Blip is a media company, and we use the web and we use apps to reach people. But in the end, just as NBC is a media company or the channels in Italy are media companies, that's what we are too. And we need to change the way that we think about internet companies. They may be internet-based. The web may enable us to reach people, or we have apps on all sorts of devices as well. But I would say we are more of a threat to traditional media and much more look, sound, act, smell like a media company than we are a threat to other than other internet companies, in short.
You mean that you're a media company because you're interested mainly in buying and selling rights for content, or
I think it's
by what you define a media company?
It's much more disruptive. Oh, is this working? It's much more disruptive than that. Let's look at the basics. Say you have an idea for a show. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, you would have had to pitch that to a media boss in order to get that show on air. Now, thanks to blip.tv, thanks to pervasive broadband and the internet, you can create your show. You can reach an unlimited number of people. Our top shows on Blip reach more than 6 million views a month. In a year, they'll reach more than 20 million views a month. And you can make hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of euros a year. It's never been possible before. So what does that enable? We're enabling people to create, and then we distribute and sell the shows so that they get advertising. We're enabling media. That's a media company. And the fact that we're using the pipes of the internet rather than the pipes of television is less interesting than the fact that we're hosting thousands of shows that are thriving.
Part of these people are also into creating their own company, and they speak about that, they write about that. So naturally, they will think about your business model. Where is the business model? Mm-hmm. And somebody has just given you 10 or 12, $18 million for funding. So how they will go back?
Exactly. Naveen and I were joking yesterday because there's this belief in the U.S., in Silicon Valley, where traditionally the largest internet companies have started, that you just need to start your company and then magically money will just come from the sky like manna from heaven. On the East Coast of the U.S., and especially the New York-based startups, maybe it's because we're coming from the center of finance. That doesn't mean as much today as it did 2 years ago. But the bias in New York is that you have to make money. So Blip has made money from its first year. And the way that we make money is just as a traditional television would make money. We sell advertising on the shows. We then run ads on the shows, either right before the episode, right after, or during. Just like a television network. And then we actually share 50% of the revenue from each show, 50% of the revenue that runs on each episode back to the show producer. This didn't mean that much in 2005 and 2006 when we started because there wasn't much money in video advertising. But I'm really proud to tell you that this past quarter, so Q2 2010, we sent a check to one of our shows for $137,000 just for that quarter. That means that this year, because Q4, the end of the year, is traditionally a much better time for advertising, we'll make at least $500,000 for that show, which is mainly a guy and a camera. So that's pretty significant. In terms of how we make the money back, we do look forward, knock on wood, or whatever this is, to making a lot more money for our investors than they've invested in us so far.
And in your last question, in your opinion, the web is still one place, neutral, easy to live with by just innovation, or is balkanizing, is dividing, is creating into the web something that is dividing it?
Do you mean in terms of people who have access to it, or in terms of what types of companies can thrive, or users?
Companies that are dividing, that are doing things that make it not being any more neutral.
I mean, is it net neutrality? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're very committed to net neutrality. At this point, Blip TV could pay what we need to pay if there were not net neutrality, but One of the beautiful things about the internet, and the reason that Naveen and I are here today, is that it is possible on the web for innovative people without a lot of funding. Both of our companies were bootstrapped for over a year on no funding when we both started. And that's possible because even at that time, we had the same access to people, to our customers, as Google does or as Facebook does. So in order to promote innovation, we absolutely are deeply committed to net neutrality. But again, that actually ties in a way back to your first question. Is there something going on back there?
What's up?
Is everything okay?
Okay.
Maybe they're serving drinks back there.
Italians chat.
No, va bene. Questa Italia, mi piace. Molto bene. I think we're at a wonderfully exciting time right now. And Naveen and I had the pleasure to meet with 30 young Italian entrepreneurs last night, some of whom are here today. You can start a company with so little now. You can reach millions upon millions of users. We've both seen this firsthand. For all of us at Blip, 5 entrepreneurs, 5 founders, it's our first time. And you can change people's lives. We, with what we're doing, are making talented people with ideas for shows who just don't know someone at NBC or Sony Studios or Warner Brothers Studios. We're letting them do what they love without having that connection. That's an incredibly exciting, invigorating, and wonderful thing. So whether you're a fashion-based company like Gilt Group, which I would say is a fashion company, not an internet company, whether you're a location-based company like Foursquare, or a media company like Blip, I truly believe there's no better time to start a company than now.